All right, in this brief video, I'm going to talk to you about mute groups and how to do assignments to these mute groups, okay? So we'll start right over here in the middle of the console. Let's start right at the MLM for a second. I'm going to show you where you access the mute groups. It's in this right-hand TFT screen here. And if you'll notice, on the left-hand side of that TFT, you see 6 mute groups. These are the first 6 mute groups of 24 that are available for S6L. These 6 mute groups will be on the top level at all times. You'll be able to get to them no matter where you are on the console. Now that said, the way we access the other remaining mute groups is in the right-hand side of that TFT. There's another button to the upper right here that says mute groups. If we just press on that, it expands the TFT to show us the first 12. And then if we press the next key, we get the next 12, the 13 through 24 mute groups that are available there. Okay, so let's talk about how to actually program assignment to one of these mute groups. Mute group assignment is a multi-assign workflow. Now, it is different from the other multi-assign workflows only in the fact that it needs to be initiated from the universe screen, okay? So let's go do that right now. As you can see on the universe view, I have inputs up right now, and I'm just gonna go select mutes. And you can see on the mutes page, we have an attention touch button that lets us know that we're attentioning whatever we touch. So the first move is to attention the mute group that you want to program. I'm just going to do number 1. We'll just do mute group number 1. From there you need to attach it to multi-assign workflow. So there is a touch button on the universe screen that says multi-assign. We can use that one, or we can use the one on the control surface. Either place is going to be the same move. The point being, it has to come from the universe screen. You have to be on this screen to be able to get into the programming mode. All right. So we've attentioned our mute group. We're in multi-assign mode now. Now anything that we attention will be assigned to that mute group, be it input, output, whichever we decide to do. And of course we can do that in 2 ways now. We can do it with the regular attention buttons on the channels themselves. And this is certainly doable. We can certainly do it this way if we choose to do it. But it's going to require that we bank down through all of the inputs and outputs to get to what we want. There's actually an easier way to do it, and it's taking advantage of the universe view. So for instance, if we go now to the inputs page of the universe view, we can see the channels that are in this mute group assigned. Matter of fact, we can see all the channels just by scrolling, and we can get to them very, very quickly. Same thing for outputs. If we want to add additional outputs to this mute group, auxes, groups, matrices, whichever we choose to add to the mute group, we can do that there. It's actually a much faster way, I think, than actually tunneling down through your banking. All right. So once we've made the selection, it's just simply clicking OK, and we're off to the races. We've now programmed that mute group, and we can of course check it by engaging the mute group, and we see flashing red mute buttons across the inputs that have been muted as a result of that mute group button being pushed, okay? So this is probably as good a time as any to also describe how our mute statuses work here. As you notice right now, they're flashing. But there are other mute modes that we can initiate while it's doing this, all right? So let's say, for instance, I actually wanted to unmute a channel without unmuting the rest of the group. I don't want to have to unmute the mute group. I just want to unmute the single channel. Well, of course, we can do that at any point here. A single press of a channel that is in that mute group and has a flashing mute will simply unmute it. I've kind of isolated a channel right here in the zoomed view so that we can concentrate on that. All right. So you can see the other channels are still muted as a result of the mute group, but one of the channels is now unmuted. All right. So what happens now if we want to remute that channel? Well, we can just simply remute it. Now notice that that channel has a solid mute group or mute light now, right? Okay, so this is going to be called an implicit mute, meaning even if we unmute the mute group now, that channel is still going to stay muted, all right? We've kind of overridden the group there to get it muted, okay? So I'm going to go back to our mute group assign. You'll see that everything is flashing. So the question then becomes, well, how do I get it back under the control of the mute group? It's just one more press of the mute button, and now it's flashing, signaling to you that it's under control of the mute group. And of course, if we unmute the mute group, they all become unmuted, okay? So kind of a three-stage affair there. We have mute group mutes, unmute, implicit mute, and then back to the mute group again, okay? So it's a really, really handy feature. It really works great to be able to access a channel quickly while you have things muted without having to unmute all of the channels at once. It's a great workflow. All right, that's going to do it for mute group assignment. Please keep checking back for more S6L operational videos. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.